what's up? Glad to be back with another vid, especially since we are indeed covering yet another baller Casio. I filmed 2 wristwatch checks for reasons. Due to an inability to choose one or the other, you're going to see both. The first is the Christopher Ward 36mm Sealander limited edition in New Forest Yellow. Oh my god, that is a mouthful. And the second is a different G-Shock, the recently released orange NASA edition with a swapped band. Been leaning on both of those a lot lately. This vid is going to be a bit different. We're going to call this one a retrospective, a reflection, a look back on the initial wave of CasiOak releases. I've been seeing quite a bit about this line lately, and for good reason. A few months ago, Casio put out the newly enhanced resin versions of this watch, the GAB 2100s. As I speak, you're peeping some images. These models made a pretty positive splash and got a lot of coverage, which has been the case for this entire range, honestly. Rightfully so, I reckon. They're pretty much a straight-up improvement on the originals with added solar power and Bluetooth capabilities. Not much to hate on there. Kudos and high five to Casio. Golf clap, golf clap. And then, of course, the inevitable happened. The steel versions were announced, and people are picking up those bad boys left and right now. Are they clean as heck? For sure. Would I like one eventually? Perhaps. I've got some dubious feelings with regard to the legibility on those watches, especially after watching some initial footage of them in hand. Shout out to Jody over at Just One More Watch for his coverage on the release. Love that guy. But still, color me intrigued. With all that swirling around the old Gulliver, along with just my weird G-Shock fever this summer, I've been pulling my own CasiOak out of the box the last couple of weeks for a reappraisal. This one is a bit of a puzzler. For one thing, you might be like, hey Chris, you're such a color guy. Why the all gray? And then you might be a bit skeptical about the small aspect here. And I'd be forced to say to that, hey, you're quite astute. But hold those horses. RE the color, follow me here. It's really a dash of monotone magic. It's so gray that it pops off somehow. It's like when you hate something so much that you start to love it. Except it's not hate here. More like bedazzlement. Perhaps you're picking up what I'm putting down. This example is from the Earth Tone subset, if you're wondering. RE the size, real talk, it's a whopper within the context of my collection especially. I'll throw up some specs. But kind of like with the squares, you might be misled. The short story is that it works, even on my 6 1/4 inch wrist. Somehow, just barely. It really wets my whistle for something a smidge smaller though, and thankfully there are examples. The S2100. I don't yet have that model in the collection for a simple reason. I haven't lit on a colorway or particular model that really strikes my fancy. There are some nifty half metal versions and some resin models that are on the cusp for me. I think I might try out one of the newer skeleton models dropping this month, so stay tuned for that, possibly. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of feature overviews on this one. It's a G-Shock like any other, basically. The digital cutout on this example was something that persuaded me toward this model, since it's positive. And I generally have hated all the negative displays on G-Shocks I've encountered, so that nixes a bunch of the options from the get-go. Does this section of the range, the original Casio, serve a purpose now, with all the new releases stacking up? I'd say yeah, sure, for now. There simply aren't many colorways out for the solar resin models, and of the ones out, real talk, only the yellow one seems to really percolate, at least for me, just saying. And the steel versions are going to price a lot of people out, the budget collectors who are really going after a lot of the new Casio colorways and things like that. It's a little up there. And that'll probably be the case for the foreseeable future. For around $100. Sometimes less if you're able to poke around a little bit and be patient. The original CasiOak still has a lot to offer in terms of usability and style. It's pretty much the only analog G-Shock I've caught into as a collector, and from the feedback I've seen in the community, I'm not the only one in that boat. Looking ahead, like other folk have opined, I def want to see some more resin colorways with solar. The Bluetooth, I can take or leave, honestly. Don't really enjoy tying my watch up with an application on my phone. That kind of thing puts me off a bit. But I'd really like to see Multiband 6. The 5610 that I've been wearing quite a bit lately has spoiled me with that atomic syncing. It's just such a cool feature, so neat. I want it more. And Casio already has analog models that utilize this function. I'm looking at you, Lineage and Oceanus. What do you think? Is CasiOak still a hot commodity? Are you on board with the direction the company is taking with this line? What models do you own? Which are you after? Feel free to let me know in the comments. Color me curious. Thanks as always for watching and spending a little time with me. Hope you have a rad day wherever you are. Stay tuned for more videos like this one. Take care.